Hi, welcome to D-ConneXion TV. I'm Donzale Powell with D-ConneX LLC, and today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, food. So I will go ahead. I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, and I'll let them take it from here. Starting with you, Erica.
Thank you, Donsley. I'm so happy to be on the show. My name is Erica Rains, and I own The Chef and I. I am the owner, but if you guys know me in the community, I always say I'm the I. I'm not the chef. And we've been in business about 12 years. We're located in the Gulch. We have just opened an event venue in the Gulch as well, and it's called The Chef and I Backstage. So we have team building, restaurant, cooking classes, and just having a lot of fun in our community. So
Wow.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Yes, thank you.
I'm Mignon Francois, and I'm a huge fan of The Chef and I. I own the Cupcake Collection, and we are in Germantown. We just celebrated 11 years there in business, and we were just voted recently as the best cake in Tennessee, and that for our sweet potato cupcake. And we have just changed the face of what North Nashville is considered in the business community, one cupcake at a time.
Oh, perfect.
Love that. I'm Kirby Miller, and I own Kanimi Kitchen, and that's a culinary experience company, and the goal is just to cultivate meaningful connections with people through food. And out of that also was born Kanimi Pop, which is a gourmet popcorn line. And so with that, it's just an awesome opportunity to get flavorful bites in people's mouths and connect them with the brand. So I'm super passionate about people, food, and authentic connection.
Perfect.
Authentic connection.
Yes.
My name is Will Radford. Thank you for having me, Donzale. I'm the owner of the Local Distro, which is a food market and a restaurant located in Salem Town, neighbor to Germantown. But the Local Distro focuses on the distribution of local handmade, homemade products and goods. So although we're a restaurant, we really specialize in helping other entrepreneurs and small business owners get their products to market.
Wonderful. Well, I will say, again, because I am a foodie myself, I have had everything from each one of you before, and it has always been good, always had a great experience. So definitely appreciate you all being on the show today. So I just want to hear, and I'm sure people out there, they want to hear a little bit about you. So how did you end up getting into the food industry? What were some, and again, this is in no particular order, so anyone can go at any time. How did you get into the food industry, and what kind of really sparked that for you? Anybody?
I'll start. My story is a cute one. It's a love story. So The Chef and I, its own brand, its own love story. And my husband was the chef for the Predators, Chris Rains, the executive chef at the arena. And I was in media, and we met on eHarmony and fell in love. And the rest is history. We started The Chef and I, and we partnered, and I used my media background, and he proceeded to grow as an executive chef, and we started catering. And I had done some food industry work through college, so I was familiar with it, and it was just really fun to start the company from scratch, so to speak. And we started by catering for the Predators in their homes with their families, and then we expanded to other professional sports, and then that became more weddings, and we just kept expanding until we were able to build our first restaurant 5 years in, and our second one 10 years in. And that's how we got started.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, my love story is the love I have for food.
I love that.
But I grew up cooking in Arkansas. I mean, our culture is centered around food, as a lot of communities are. And then when I came to Nashville, I got into real estate. So the current opportunity, the Local Distro, is really a real estate transaction that then became a restaurant. But it's all centered around my love for food and really the expression of art as it relates to food. So I didn't mention I'm the first winner of the Music City Hot Chicken Festival. Yeah. And so that hot chicken win in 2007 gave me a lot of confidence. So
I love that.
it's part of what I celebrate. And we have the hot chicken chili at the Local Distro, which is the hot chicken win and then 5 chili competition wins that we put together. So if you haven't had that, that's
Interesting.
awesome.
No, I
It's
have
good.
not tried that yet.
It's
so
really
excellent.
good.
Yeah.
Add to the list.
Awesome. And I would piggyback on that. So it's hard to really pinpoint the relationship with food. I cannot remember a time where I didn't cook. I wasn't in the kitchen. So I actually started cooking at 5 and fell in love with just the process and the art of it. And then just the connection that brought with family, friends. I laugh and tell people I probably was the only 4th grader people at church were buying like their holiday desserts from. And so I just fell in love with that. What you could create, people would want, but then it sparked beautiful conversations. And so as far as establishing Kanimi Kitchen, that's been about 3 years ago, where it was like, okay, this love affair with food and people, okay, let's formalize this. And I started out with an online cooking show and started popping up all over the city at Macy's, Pottery Barn and such, and then have just grown from there.
That's funny because my story is so opposite. I hated being in the kitchen. I couldn't bake, not even out of a box. My entrance into the food industry was desperation and hunger, wanting to get out of debt and brokenness. I heard on the radio that you could become debt-free by having a garage sale or a bake sale. And I had 2 daughters that were 10 and 16 who loved to be in the kitchen. One who I just knew was going to be a chef one day. And I thought, if we could have a bake sale, I could sell your product during the day while you go to school and you could make it at night. And shortly after we got started, they let me know, we're really not interested in your little idea, Mom. And I'd already put a coming soon sign out there, so I felt like I had told the world and I had to keep my word and open a business. And so the Cupcake Collection was born.
Wow. Yeah, that is a little different. So obviously, we all know Nashville is growing. We've got people coming here from all around the world visiting, moving here, all of this influx. And of course, you have the locals here as well. But how do you feel like this growth has either impacted or affected your business? Do you see kind of the new Nashville as what are the pros and cons? Just thinking about what your thoughts are as, being in the food industry, how has that affected you?
I can speak to that as a unicorn. I'm a Nashville native. I was born here.
I am too.
Oh, yay! Unicorns. And it has changed quite a bit. It's almost unrecognizable. For me, it's kind of both. On one hand, we're in the Gulch. We're in the back of the Gulch, so that's a busy area, and we have so many people coming in, like you mentioned, from out of town, but also locals. So the business, the foot traffic, and the driving traffic is definitely has increased because there's more people here, there's more people visiting. These high rises are going up everywhere, hotels, condos. We have a crane in our backyard right now of the restaurant, and so growing pains can be a little challenging for businesses, especially if you have a small area and then it's hard to park or hard to get there. But then again, you're happy to get that extra business that maybe wasn't here 20 years ago. Not sure if it would have been the same type of business or that successful back then. But I will say, I sure hope that Nashville keeps its authenticity. The thing that made it Music City, and I'd like to see, more of a balance of that, and maybe in the future, our community leaders can, kind of help us determine how to keep that and still have a booming business, but not like be so saturated or be busting at the seams so much that we lose who we really are. So, I have 2 different schools of thought because of my being a Nashville native. I'm kind of sentimental about it, but I don't mind the extra business. I don't know about you guys, but.
I will say, I do like what you're saying as far as making sure that it is still some Nashville flavor here, but I love diverse foods.
Yes.
So for me, again, kind of like you said, as long as it isn't taking over, I like to be able to go experience something that I typically would not have had the opportunity to do, or if so, would have to go to D.C. or Philadelphia or somewhere in order to have that experience. But still making sure overall, I think that Nashville still keeps hold of itself. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
I would say my market is in the neighborhood, so it's not on the beaten strip. And so the majority of our customers are locals who live within half-mile walking distance. So we really enjoy the repeat faces and then letting the local distro sort of be their secret to share. We do marketing and do things online, but we really are looking to start by serving the local and then help it grow from sort of an ownership of the community standpoint. So we've enjoyed that. We celebrate the end of our first year on tomorrow, February 28th.
Congratulations.
So it's a great time. Thank you.
I would say for me, I really, so I've been in Nashville since 2003. So people are saying, well, just say you're from Nashville. I'm like, not quite, but I've been here long enough. So I've been able to see some of those changes that are really exciting. And for myself, as I pop up in different places all over the city, I get to intersect with those tourists. And it's really an honor to me to be the Nashville that they meet. And so for me, it's been really awesome. And then in the popcorn world, it's great because they take it with them, and then you get orders that go all over the United States. So for me, that's actually, it's been great, but I really see myself kind of that, that friendly face of Nashville, preserving that type of experience when they come here.
If you go inside for more than a day, you come outside and the landscape's gonna look totally different. When did they put that entire building right there? And I have been blessed to be a part of the transition. And I think that when Katrina happened to my community, we infused the rest of the country with our flavor.
Yes.
And Nashville was home to that for my family. And even though we didn't come here because of Katrina, we came here 1 year before Katrina happened. So we actually chose to live in Nashville. But Nashville wrapped its arms around my family who was staying here. And that's part of my love affair with Nashville, that it made my family feel welcome. And we were just talking about this yesterday. My children are Nashvillians. They've been here, my youngest turned 3 here, and now he's 18. And his family's from New Orleans, right? But not him. I mean, he knows Nashville culture, and it's so funny to listen to them have isms that are Nashville, and just all of my children my younger children consider Nashville home. At least the bottom four believe that this is their home.
Well, I love to hear that, and I've heard different people say things similar to that as far as the culture here compared to where they may have come from. Just being, of course, they say we're Southerners and, we like to be polite and all those things. But truly, when we meet people, typically we try to make them feel at home. And that has always been the way that I've been raised. It's literally when people come into the house, make yourself at home. If you want anything, just go ahead and get it. And just really trying to make sure that people feel welcome. So I'm glad that you've had that experience.
Well, I want to add a point to that. I think that I'm from a very hospitable city. I'm from New Orleans, but there's a different kind of hospitality. It's a different kind of niceness. So in New Orleans, while they'll say, I'll cook for you, in Nashville, they'll say, come over and eat. It's a different kind of welcoming. They're both very welcoming and loving, but it's a different kind of hug, from the culture. And so that's what I love.
So when you all yourselves personally, when you go out and you have something that you like to go out and eat, or you have a specialty product that you're like, ooh, I really like when I go there and get this, how do you take that in internally to say, hey, for my clients, I want to make sure that they feel those soft moments and those kind of, glistening feelings whenever they're taking in my stuff. So just tell me, what are some of your favorites, and then how do you translate that to your business?
I'm an ethnic eater, so much like you, I like to travel when I eat, in the sense of going into Indian, Thai, other types of cultures. And I think it's because of the complexity of the spices. Like, nothing's one note. It's not like garlic, it's so many things. And so in the things that we prepare, that's what we want to do too. Put the love in there, but then also the complexity, so that it's worth me watching you take the first bite and then telling you what's in it and how much love went into it and what all the ingredients were. And I think it helps people enjoy it more too. So when I go to restaurants and I choose to eat things, I ask about it, and then the person either they'll get the chef or they'll tell me about it, and that helps me to enjoy it more. So that's the experience that I like to offer at the Local Distro as well, that you eat the fish and then you realize that I tell you, we cooked it Arkansas style. And they say, well, what's that? So you season the fish before you bread the fish. You don't just bread, naked fish, for lack of a better term. And they say, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's the way we do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is that Arkansas?
Right. I didn't know any other way. Like, what?
So I'm I'm a balance of southern rural and now southern urban, being in Nashville, and so I think I combine those two well.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Have you ever been to the Smiling Elephant?
Absolutely.
I have, yes.
When you said ethnic food and you mentioned Thai, and about the authenticity, I was thinking of them. It's just, you know, when you go into a place and the family's there and they're cooking and they're happy, or maybe they're not and they're fighting, but you know it's a family and they're like, it's part of the charm and the draw to me. And I think when they come to the chef and I hope they see that too. You know, Chris and I are there. We're that couple. We're, you know, flirting with each other across the room. He's cooking and he's talking about what he's making. And I'm hoping that people are getting not just the taste, but all the senses, all the parts of the story behind the food. And so I think about that when I go to places like the Smiling Elephant and think, I hope people feel like this warm, happy feeling when they're with us too. So we try to mimic that, you know, just authenticity. So.
Well, one of the things that I think is great about the chef and I, at times, of course, you can sit right there and you can actually see what's happening. Now, of course, you do have other seating, but sometimes that you don't have that opportunity to be that close.
Right.
I do like to cook. I don't cook a lot, but I used to watch cooking shows faithfully when I was growing up, and I love to see it. And so for me, it's just the experience itself is just an added bonus to say, not only is it good, but also get to see.
Yeah, people say it's kind of like watching a cooking show
It is.
sometimes.
It
and
really
it's
is.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's all happening. If they get in the weeds, you're going to know about it.
Yeah,
Anything for you all?
I would say, so I wear a few different hats with Kanimi Kitchen. So part of that, I do some in-home either event, or some people do team building. And so one that I did recently, I want to make sure people know that they're thought about, but it's organic and accessible, and the conversation flows naturally. And then they're like, oh, look what we made. And so for me, it's really channeling that authenticity through that experience. And then on the popcorn side of things, just this week, I had a really big event and I debuted a new flavor that I have called Curry Crush. And a girl came over and she tried it and she said, oh my gosh. And then she put another kernel in her mouth and she closed her eyes and she said, I spent 6 months in India and this just transported me back to the market. I'm there. And so for me, I want the packaging, I want the experience to be well thought out, but then when you experience the food, I want it to transport you to another place, another experience.
I was real quick. One of the things that I love about your popcorn, and number one, you already know which one I like.
I know,
Cajun,
yes.
Cajun pop is
There's
my
some in the
favorite.
back.
Because it's just a mix. It really surprised me when I had it the first time. So I used to tell her, I need to put in an order. But besides that, she also does events and decor, everything. I love the presentation.
Thank you.
That can be very important whenever you're dealing with food and having people come out to something. So definitely great job on that.
Thank you.
Mignon,
I think that Kirby does do a beautiful job of that. I don't necessarily know which place I would like to say is my favorite place to eat as much as I love beautiful experiences. I love to go into a place where they have thought of everything and it's just beautiful to sit in there. I mean, it just makes me feel better about myself. What I want people to feel when they come into the Cupcake Collection is a welcome. Like, welcome home. You've come over as my guest. We know your name. We're interested in you. We might remember what you were going through last week. And it's just about giving that sort of hospitality. We want to be hospitality and fellowship. And that's the kind of company that I want to be and the kind of place that I want to sit and spend my money.
And I've definitely seen you grow over the years, because I know you, of course, you have the cupcakes, but now you also do the jumbo cupcakes and also do wedding cakes and things like that. So yeah, I've seen it, and it's been amazing to see the growth that's happening. Well,
So while Mignon may not know where she would go, she does not share her guacamole, I can tell you that. So if you ever take a lunch date with Mignon, make sure you don't
order
try
your own
to share
guac.
guacamole.
That would be, that's a person who is my friend, and so Will and I will eat and dream together. You know, just talk about just stuff. You know, and then go back to our respective jobs. But I will not share my guacamole, which is, you know, I was gonna say my favorite food though is a well done avocado. And I think they really do that well in Germantown at Butcher Town Hall. They make their tortilla chips and their guacamole. You know, I am a connoisseur of it. So
This makes me want to go eat and dream.
Right. So part 2 of this, we're meeting up for dinner.
Right.
I would love to. Love
And
to.
everybody gets their own guacamole.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
It's established.
That is so funny. So I again, let's go back to a little bit of the influx. Because that means not only are you having more people that you're serving, that means you need to also be able to keep a consistent employee base. You don't want a lot of turnover. No one wants a lot of turnover. So how do you deal with that? What are some of the things in the food industry that you're able to kind of say, here are some practices that I try to put in place, number one, to encourage and maintain and retain employees, make sure that things are up to par. Just any of your thoughts as far as your employee base.
I'll start and say at the distro, we actually want an employee to move on. And it's because our sort of model is that we want to introduce you to the idea of what it takes to start the business. And I think this is just my entrepreneur roots and the idea of helping people understand the structure of this business and the opportunities that are here for them. So some of the people we hire are musicians, or they make clothes, or they make food themselves. And so how do we help them move into a catering space so that we get a catering order, we build it together, we help them sort of establish some of those processes. So that's important for me. Retaining talent is a secret that I don't know yet in this 1 year, but I look forward to learning a lot. I think you have to be kind to people. You have to let them know what your expectations are early, very early, before they start on the first week that they're trained, and reiterate it so that they know that this is the consistent opportunity you want to offer your customer and not just your preference. So it's not your idea. It's, you know, this is what the customer deserves every time they come. This is what they're expecting, and
Right,
this is the value that we want to offer every time.
I was just about to say that those expectations for excellence now,
That's right.
the bar is raised.
That's right.
Because again, even though we're having people come in from all over, a lot of them have experienced exceptional other places. So not only do they come here, they get to feel a little bit of the Southern charm, but they also, those expectations are still there. So I can see how that could play a role. Anybody else?
I'm similar to Will in that we have a 3 to 5 year maximum. We want you to learn and grow and then move on. You can go away and you could come back after you've learned some stuff from the world. But what I think makes people want to stay is we give them that entrepreneurial space to be able to invest in the business with their ideas, and we will listen to them. And even more so than that, we invest in their own personal dreams. I'm concerned about what they want to be when they grow up, because we're always growing.
Yes.
And I want to be a part of making sure you get that skill set while you're here. In order to get that, we're like family to you. We're just invested. We will be at your graduation. We're going to remember it's your birthday, and I'm going to tack money on you because it's your birthday, and we're going to make sure everybody knows, you know, to celebrate you. I think I treat them like my family. But one of the things that I truly am trying to shape right now, I learned this from my woman crushing business, which would be Sherry Deutschman. And what she did is she shared profits with her team across the board. And it was like, when I win, you win too. And that's one of the things I want to do. Like, I want to be a part of their home ownership. I want to be a part of the growth of their family. And that's a page that I tore out of her playbook.
Wow. That's,
Right.
If I didn't have a job, I'd come work with you.
I mean, you know, I'm hiring.
Oh, I'll call you. What you said about, you know, just really making them part of your family and sharing things with them, that's kind of how we are. We're a little bit different at the Chef and I in that we'd love for you to be a lifer, but, you know, we have several team members that have been there for almost 10 years, and we have about almost 40 employees now.
Oh, wow.
And it's growing, and we empower our employees through town hall meetings where everyone has a voice and everyone's on the same level, where we are able to take everyone's ideas. If it's chefs, any chef, no matter your level, if you have a menu idea, we'll try it out. But we have been able to kind of share profits too recently because we were more successful once we moved to the Gulch. So instead of, as owners, you can take a profit, but what we did was start a 401k matching program and medical, dental, vision, paid vacation for every employee, no matter if you're part-time. And we never got to do that before. And it was probably one of my favorite moments as a business owner is just to make everybody feel special and say, guys, we took the extra money and put it back into you. And then now we're going to empower you to continue to grow. And then we are implementing some training programs. So we're trying because it's so competitive. The labor, there's a shortage in the hospitality industry. I think last time I heard it was like 30%. So we just want them to authentically feel loved and like family, like you said.
Good. Now, I know in more recent years, everyone is concerned with health and looking at ways that they can cut this and make sure that they exclude that. Just wondering, has any of that affected you all? Do you offer any meatless products, or do you do gluten-free? Just wondering, have you kind of changed how you might have typically done your standard to make other options?
I offer gluten-free, vegan. So we have cupcakes. We got cupcakes for everybody. It's been important to me for a really long time, but it wasn't anything that we advertised. So you kind of had to know that already. I had a whole customer base of people who were bringing me certain ingredients so that I could make special cakes for their children who had allergy restrictions. And my grandbaby, she's only 5, but coming into the bakery, she knows where her cupcakes are. And she knows how can I get them, and she knows what hers look like.
Right.
Just because everybody deserves a reason to celebrate. Yeah. Just because I have a challenge shouldn't separate me. And I hated to see that there were children who were being left out of the celebration because they didn't have anything. So I started really making sure that the world knew that we offered an opportunity for everybody.
Quickly, anybody else?
Sure, I would say with my culinary experiences, or if I'm doing a television segment, I like to offer different ways that everyone can enjoy. So whether it's, hey, here's how you do this without bread, here's how you do this meatless, and just really teaching people the principles of flavor and texture and layering in the flavor and spicing up every layer of what you're making and really having that experience, whether it's vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free. So that's what I really like to teach people, just to make sure that, again, it's an inclusive experience without a loss of the experience.
Right. Anybody else?
So in year 1, I can tell you we've crossed the vegetarian line. I'm still discovering what vegan is and getting the details of that. But we have several vegetarian options and still increasing the vegan options. But we look forward to it.
Yeah, we do gluten-free. We've done it for years because I'm gluten-free. So that helped us to learn more about it. And vegan, vegetarian, we use tofu as a meatless option. There's a caprese salad that is so good with butternut squash. Have y'all had it?
I had it today.
Ooh.
Okay, so that is, vegetarian option and gluten-free, I do believe as well. So, yeah.
So just real quick, I want to make sure that you each have an opportunity. If there's anything that you have going on or that you just want to share with the general public, I'll let you open up the floor.
Okay, I'll start really quick. At the Chef and I, we're at 611 9th Avenue South in the Gulch, just kind of around the back of the Gulch, and we just started cooking classes again, and that's in the Chef and I backstage, and we just started doing brunch forever. So every day brunch, bottomless mimosas, all of that. So yeah, so that's what we got going on.
Yeah, we're at 1213 6th Avenue North in historic Germantown. And if you're visiting New Orleans, you can catch us there too. But we're also excited that we're now available online. So we're open 24 hours a day. You can purchase your cupcakes right online, and you can ship them anywhere in the U.S.
did not know that.
There you
Good to
go.
know.
The world just opened up, so I'm going to be going online tonight. So I'd love if you follow along on Instagram or visit my website. So that's at Kanimi Kitchen, because I pop up all over the city. So I'd love for people just to follow along and catch me when I'm out in the city.
Great.
Well, the Local Distro is having its 1-year anniversary tomorrow. We're celebrating with a 100-pound fish fry, Arkansas style. That's from 4 to 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And then we also have brunch on Sunday, and we're partnering with Status Event Catering.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for coming, and thank you for tuning in to D-ConneXion TV. Until next time.